Trust was shattered when Kirk Frost's secret relationship with Jasmine was exposed, along with her shocking claim that he was the father of her child. Rasheeda was left completely blindsided, struggling to make sense of the chaos that had suddenly taken over her life. The tension only grew as Jasmine refused to back down, insisting her side of the story was the truth. Meanwhile, Kirk acted like he had nothing to hide, trying to play the role of the perfect father while denying everything. The relationship remained stable and normal and never touched on sex in any way until trust embarked. But Rasheeda wasn't backing off. She wasn't about to let the story slip away without a fight. In a fiery exchange, Jasmine fired back at Rasheeda's intense glare, pointing out that it was Kirk who had created this mess by playing both sides. The drama was far from over, and everyone was on edge, each waiting for the truth to finally come out. The tension was thick as Jasmine stood her ground, insisting that Kirk's choices were his own and he was fully responsible for the situation they were now facing. She had her side of the story to tell, and she wasn't about to back down. "We're here because of actions that were taken," she said firmly. "I didn't force him to do anything." Jasmine wasn't backing down. She firmly told Rasheeda that Kirk had come after her, making her feel special, like she wasn't just another person in his life. That comment hit Rasheeda hard, and in a fit of rage, she slapped Jasmine across the face. The loud smack echoed through the room, and for a moment, everything froze. Jasmine staggered back, shocked, but didn't retreat. The air was thick with emotions, and it was clear that this battle was far from over. The drama, the pain, the anger, it was all just beginning to unravel. Back in shock, but also refused to back down, as Rasheeda's rage started to boil over. The betrayal and hit too deeply, that's what that says. And now you agreed to whatever. When Kirk tried to talk his way out of it, but his excuses didn't hold up. He mentioned being stuck in a tough spot and feeling misunderstood, but none of it made sense to Rasheeda. His words felt empty, like he was just trying to make excuses. Instead of clearing things up, his attempt to explain only left more questions hanging in the air. The tension was thick, and it was clear that the mess was far from being resolved. But he smiled and nodded solemnly in appreciation. For fans of Love and Hip Hop Atlanta, they'll remember the drama around the DNA test when it was revealed that Kirk had fathered another child. That moment shattered not only their marriage, but also the trust everyone thought they had built. It was a tough blow, and the effects of it rippled through their lives, leaving everyone wondering how things could ever be the same again. Kirk's affair with another woman forced Rasheeda to face his betrayal, and this time, it was out in the open for everyone to see. It wasn't the first time he'd caused chaos in their marriage, and the memories of all the past mistakes hit her hard, like scenes from a bad movie she couldn't escape. Even though Kirk begged for forgiveness, Rasheeda was done. She looked at him and said, "This isn't about forgiveness anymore. It's about respect, which you clearly don't have for me or this family. At the end of the day, whether you decide to do this or simply take my word after I sign a release form for Canon, I take you back to court. Don't play with me. You didn't."
I just did it out of the kindness of my heart because I knew you were behind trying to help you. That wasn't no extra money. That was what you
Everything Kirk had done over the years, including the entire paternity drama from season 3 of Love and Hip Hop Atlanta, hit Rasheeda like a ton of bricks after their big blow. Kirk had a long history of betrayal, which had gradually damaged her trust. The public catastrophe that ensued from Kirk conceiving a child with someone else while they were married was one of the show's primary plot points. But standing in the aftermath of yet another broken trust, Rasheeda couldn't help but wonder if it was time to end things for good. The decision felt huge, and the weight of it was heavy. Was it worth staying in a relationship that brought so much pain, or was it time to move on and find peace for herself? The choice was hard, but it was one she knew she couldn't avoid any longer. As time passed, he slowly began to see that he might have gone too far this time. Rasheeda's reaction wasn't full of anger, but deep sadness. It was obvious to Kirk that something inside her had changed. He could hear the difference in her voice and see it in her eyes. Word began to spread, and it wasn't just talk anymore. Rasheeda wasn't simply thinking about leaving, she was seriously considering it. The thought of losing her was becoming more real for Kirk than ever before. Meanwhile, Kirk was facing a storm of criticism for his repeated mistakes. Rumors about a divorce were spreading fast, and the pressure was building. Rasheeda, who had always been admired for her strength and grace, was now receiving encouragement from all sides. Kirk, however, felt more alone than ever. The thought of losing her became a painful reality, and he couldn't escape the weight of what his actions might cost him. The situation was shifting, and it seemed like everything was slipping out of his grasp. Kirk wasn't just facing the loss of his wife. He was starting to feel the weight of everything they had built together falling apart. Fans and friends began urging Rasheeda to prioritize her own happiness, and soon the conversation shifted. It wasn't about whether their relationship could survive anymore. It was about whether Rasheeda was ready to move on despite all his mistakes.
It's beneath me, and I'm sick and tired of this. Straight up. What?
It's a deal, honestly. Let me say this. Me and you haven't really had any type of communication like this ever before. Feel like maybe me and you need to open up a communication line. Instead of me and him, maybe it'll be better that way. You just told me my husband trying to you, and then you telling me you want to open up a communication line with me? I mean, are you kidding? Rasheeda had tried for years to fix things with Kirk, but after the latest betrayal, she knew it was over. Their final conversation was quiet and full of all the hurt they had been through. Rasheeda stared straight ahead, her words clear and strong as she spoke one last time. "I deserve better," she said, calm but certain. She turned to Amber, telling her that she had finally reached her breaking point. It wasn't about getting back at him or feeling sorry for herself, it was just the truth. She knew it was time to walk away. Fans were left on edge, wondering what this strong, unstoppable woman would do next. As she walked away from the past, Rasheeda was ready to start a new journey, one of self-discovery, strength, and independence. This time, she knew she had to keep moving forward, leaving everything behind because she was doing it for herself. The future was hers to create. Rasheeda realized it was time to put herself first. Not for Kirk, not for their family, and definitely not for anyone else. She took a deep breath, understanding her own value, and knew there was no turning back. She's always been strong, but even the strongest people have their breaking points. As many have said, it was finally her time to prioritize herself, because Kirk had been treating her with disrespect for too long. She deserved better. Now, fans are waiting to see what Rasheeda does next. Will she focus on her career, spend more time with her family, or maybe start something exciting in her life now that her marriage is behind her? One thing is clear, Rasheeda has always been a powerhouse, and she's more determined than ever to move forward. The possibilities for her are endless, and with her strength, there's no telling what she will accomplish next. So what do you think about Rasheeda's choice? Was it the right move to finally stand up to Kirk, not just for herself, but to encourage others to recognize their worth and fight for what they deserve? Her decision shows that letting go of what's not serving you for your own happiness and well-being isn't just okay, it's necessary. Rasheeda's strength and courage are a reminder to all of us that we deserve to live a life we love.
What you're supposed to be giving me anyway, since we agreed to whatever the number.